How's it going? My name is Bradley with Allaqcess Sports, bringing you another episode of our sleepers, studs, and stacks. And this week's for week 12 of the NFL season. We're past Thanksgiving. We're over the Thursday slate. We're on to Sunday, the main slate, where all the big money's made. Like I said, I know Thanksgiving just passed, so I do want to take a second to say thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up and likes. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the subscribes. Thank you for everything you've done this year. And for those that go above and beyond and support the channel over on Patreon, I greatly appreciate you. We were red hot last week. Let's hope that continues. And if you're not on Patreon, here's kind of what you're missing, okay? Every single week, we're going to give you a write-up with some game notes, player rankings, injury news, weather news. We give you a little bit of a mock lineup. It's our starting five and kind of how you can build that lineup. Just take a look. The Vegas odds, the injuries that are happening this week, who's going to be replacing them, our player rankings, how we ranked, how they're going to be, our starting five. This kind of is a player pool, and then we give you a lineup. So here's the lineup that we put in last week and told you about with some options, okay? We weren't 100% set on it. We gave you a few options here as well as our starting five. So how did that translate? If you entered into some of the larger tournaments, it got you about $30, which was 158 points. This is the lineup. There's Fields, Robinson, Amon-Ra, DJ Moore. Quentin Johnston wasn't on that initial one. We traded for him. Jameer Gibbs was on there. The Miami Dolphins, 158 points we gave you, and that's just kind of what we do every single week. So if you're interested in that, sign up down below. But more importantly, Vivid Picks has some incredible promotions going on right now for Black Friday and Thanksgiving. That's where you just play your player props. You pick the over, under in terms of yardage, rushing, touchdowns scored, number of tackles made. You can make up to 7 picks on the NFL slate. So if you want, you can turn a couple bucks into a couple of $100 with correct picks. Okay, I know what you came here for, so let's actually get into the important side of the video. Quarterbacks at the top, they're expensive for a reason. Is because they're going to be putting up more points. We say it every week. Jalen Hurts, yeah, I like that against Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes against Las Vegas, I like it. Josh Allen, I guess if he can avoid the turnovers, it's probably going to be a really good play. CJ Stroud against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 29th in yardage allowed, I think. 29th in passing yards allowed defensively, better against the pass or better against the run than they are against the pass, which is actually kind of similar for this Houston team. Since adding Will Anderson in the draft, 8th against the run, 25th against the pass. So this is a game that you can target some wide receivers and quarterback play in. Kyler Murray against the Rams is interesting. Stafford, if Cooper Kupp's not available, no thank you. There's something to like there, but I think he has a cap without Cooper Kupp. David Carr, Baker Mayfield, $5,500, so we're into that sleeper range. Baker Mayfield against the Indianapolis Colts has had some pretty good games. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cade Otton, Rashad White catching the ball out of the backfield. Could be interesting. Will Levis, I think teams are just saying, hey, we're going to slow down Derrick Henry, make Will Levis beat us. Carolina Panthers better against the pass than they have been against the run, so maybe they just choose to shut out Derrick Henry or try to shut down Derrick Henry. Gardner Minshew, Tampa Bay stuffs the run, struggles against the pass. Gardner Minshew could have some options there. Josh Downs, pretty cheap. Kylan Granson, pretty cheap. Michael Pittman Jr., a little bit cheaper than you would expect against in this game. The only one that's dirt cheap that I might consider would be Kenny Pickett at $4,800. Again, no multi-touchdown games for him. New offensive coordinator going to be calling the play, so we'll see how that goes. Again, there's not a whole lot to love here, but at $4,800, that's dirt cheap, man. If you're getting 10 points out of him, you're probably happy and saving a ton of money. Do not love it. Okay, let's get that through. My favorite play under $5,500 is probably Baker Mayfield, and then Gardner Minshew. That's about it. The running back situation, there is, again, a lot to like here. Kamara against Kamara against the Atlanta Falcons, who has been better than anticipated against the run. Coming into the season, they added a lot of pieces. That defense has actually been much better than we anticipated. They still struggle against the pass-catching back at times, which Alvin Kamara is, so could potentially be a big game. He is the most expensive on the slate by a wide margin. Saquon Barkley, the really only threatening weapon that the Giants have against New England. Travis Etienne, again, Houston better against the run than they are the pass, so I'm going to fade that one slightly. Jonathan Taylor, Tampa Bay, way better against the run than the pass. I'm going to slightly fade that. DeAndre Swift, if he's not able to go. Kenneth Gainwell, just to look at a guy that's under $5,500 real quick. Kenneth Gainwell, 5 targets a few weeks ago. 5 targets, getting involved in the passing game. Not really getting too involved in the running game, but if he's going to be the lone guy taking advantage of that at $4,900, I absolutely want to smash that against the Bills. Josh Jacobs against Kansas City, I don't love. I think they're going to be playing from behind, so maybe he gets some catches out of the backfield. Kyron Williams, if he's out once again. Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman, you could be looking that way against a bad Arizona Cardinals defense. Bijan Robinson against New Orleans, they stuff the run, struggle against the pass at times. Derrick Henry against a horrible Carolina Panthers defense, even though they're going to probably load the box up. I expect Derrick Henry to get fed. Possibly my favorite play over $5,500 is going to be Rachaad White. He's just the epitome of consistency lately. 17, 27, 17, 15. These are always different, but he's getting involved regardless. Again, Indianapolis Colts are going to have to account for a lot of weapons. I'm not saying this Tampa Bay offense is elite, but if you have to slow down Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, you're going to slow those guys down first and let Rachaad White operate, and that's kind of what the Bucs have been doing. $5,500 and under, there's a couple guys. Well, first, Jerome Ford against the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, one of the worst teams in the league rushing-wise, defensively. Yes, they gave up, 300 yards to the Miami Dolphins week 2, 3, whatever that was. They've gotten better, but they're still not great. Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt, I think, are undervalued. Depends on which way you want to go. Look at the snap percentages, make your own decision. I would lean Ford for now. Very similar situation, Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. A little bit cheaper for Jaylen Warren, who has been the more explosive guy. He's been a little bit more efficient. 14, 6, 8, 5, 3. Getting better numbers. Again, Matt Canada's gone. It's going to be an interesting offense, seeing how they're going to call it. Najee Harris still getting more carries, but 2, 5, 4. Not nearly as efficient. Does have a couple of touchdowns to his name. I'm going to lean Jaylen Warren for now, under $5,500, but know that I do like both. And if Gainwell, we already talked about. Outside of that, I don't know if there's a whole lot I like at the running back position. I think you have some guys that you have to target. Again, it's a 10-game slate. There's less players to choose from. Maybe Isaiah Pacheco could be the quiet sleeper that I don't think anyone's really talking about that could go off for a big game. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown dealing with a little bit of an injury. Cooper Kupp dealing with an injury. Not sure if he's going to go. Chris Godwin, questionable. T. Higgins, I think, missed practice today. So he's probably not going to be playing. It looks like they've actually shifted it to out on the Draftkings screen. So that's a big bump to Tyler Boyd. And Trent Irwin at $3,200 this week for Cincinnati Bengals. Trent Irwin has been getting involved a little bit. Again, don't like the quarterback situation there for Jamar Chase to be worth his value. But at $3,200 going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, 5 targets, 4 targets. Every game that it feels like T. Higgins is missing, he's getting involved. And it's kind of crazy to see those numbers. So at $3,200, I think Trent Irwin, not that you're going to build your lineup around him, but if you absolutely need a dirt cheap guy and you're looking $3,600 and under, Trent Irwin's there for you. Another guy who is going to be dirt cheap for you from Buffalo, Khalil Shakir at $3,600. Again, not that you're building your lineup around him, not that you're expecting to get a 23 or a 15-point game, but he's going to consistently get targets. And in a game where he's going up against Philadelphia, who ranks 27th against the pass, they're probably going to keep their eyes on Stephon Diggs to keep him from burning them. Khalil Shakir, Gabriel Davis, Dalton Kincaid should be open. That's enough on them. Just keep an eye out. All right, back up to the top. Jamar Chase, again, I don't love him without Joe Burrow. Devontae Adams, I talked crap about him last week, put up 21 points with Aiden O'Connell. I like it, don't love it. I think this Kansas City defense is better than people expect again. They are going to need points. If you throw it in his vicinity, he's going to catch it. So, yes, I'm probably going to get burned by him again. Puka Nacua against a bad Arizona team. I like Mike Evans against an Indianapolis Colts team, 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, getting steady involvement, 4 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks. I look for that trend to continue against the Colts. Adam Thielen has really slowed down in terms of yardage. The targets are still there for him, but a 7, a 10, and a 15, not really good. These wide receivers have no time to get down the field because the Carolina Panthers' offensive line is absolutely abysmal. Devonta Smith in that Buffalo game, Tank Dell. He is a big play waiting to happen, 11, 14, 10. Dealing with a lot of injuries from that wide receiving room. Noah Brown could be out. Robert Woods has been iffy this year. Nico Collins has been on and off. They should be all 4 strong this week. Noah Brown might still be out. But Tank Dell at $6,900. Crazy the price jump that he's had. But he is, again, a big play waiting to happen against a Jacksonville team that is 29th against the pass. Michael Pittman Jr. against Tampa Bay, again, a team that struggles against the pass. Nico Collins, we talked about. Keep working our way down. Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, not sure which way I would want to go. I think I'm going to probably lean Calvin Ridley for now. It just feels like he has higher volume of targets, which I say with a caveat. Again, 34-point game, a 14-point game, but you also get a 1 and a 4. They're playing a Houston Texans team. This game's probably going to be higher scoring. I like both of these wide receivers. We'll have to look more into it, and we'll have more on that in our Patreon. Under $5,500. All right, we talked about Gabe Davis. We talked about Trent Irwin. We talked about Khalil Shakir. We also really like Deontay Johnson against a bad Cincinnati Bengals team. Again, Cincinnati Bengals, without Joe Burrow, probably going to have some short, unsustained drives, which means Pittsburgh is going to have the ball in their hands a little bit more. Another game, Josh Downs going up against Tampa Bay. Talked about it. I like Michael Pittman. Josh Downs, hopefully we get back to one of these 9, 6, 8-point games instead of these games where for some reason against the Carolina Panthers he only had one target. Rashid Shaheed without Michael Thomas could be super interesting. Again, Michael Thomas IR. Rashid Shaheed has been involved. Doesn't need a massive amount of volume in order to hurt your team, which is nice that if he only has to make 2 or 3 grabs, he can absolutely do it. But another guy, Demario Douglas, however you want to pronounce it, because I have heard it both ways, he has been getting extremely involved in the passing game, especially with Bailey Zappi, who is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. I stand on that. And the New York Giants can't do anything well right now. At a glance, let's just take a look at Demario Douglas and put him into the lineup because $4,400 I think is an absolute steal. Tight ends, if it's not Travis Kelce, I don't want to pay up for it. That's what I say every single week. Occasionally, Laporta or Kittle, we've paid up for. Travis Kelce against Las Vegas, I like, but I don't like the production he's gotten the last 2 weeks. 4 and 6, yes, these are good target numbers. I like that a lot. Also, Philadelphia gave up a ton of targets to him. Focus in on Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid at $5,300, still getting an incredible amount of consistent views from him. 15, 17, 17, 16, 10. You can see it on your screen. I think he's going to have a big game this week. At $5,300, we need him to get at least 15 points to get 3 times our value. I don't know if he's going to hit 4x, but he potentially could. If you want to pay down a little bit, Cade Otton at $3,200. He's getting consistent looks. I already talked about it. I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are the 2 guys that you have to shut down in this offense. 5, 3, 9, 6. Getting good target numbers, always has the chance to score a touchdown when they get into the red zone. Mike Evans is the favorite target, but Cade Otton does have a chance, especially when they get to like the 15-yard line, to just kind of be open over the middle. And then with Kyler Murray back, Trey McBride just going to be a massive target volume. 16 targets over the last 2 weeks. So if we need to put together a lineup, kind of what does that look like? We could stack Tampa Bay. I've talked about it. I love Baker. I love Michael Pittman as a run back in that one. We could absolutely do that, but here's something a little bit different. CJ Stroud going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rashad White as probably my favorite running back play of the week. I would like to get up and above, beyond Jerome Ford and get one of the other running backs, but I'm fine with that going up against a terrible Denver Broncos defense. With Dorian Thompson-Robinson starting, you probably just want to hand the ball off or take advantage of short throws to him and Kareem Hunt. Calvin Ridley as the run back against that Houston Texans team. Tank Dell. Demario Douglas, I like, don't necessarily love, but at $4,400, it is a really good play. Cade Otton as the cheapest tight end that I'm willing to go. And then on a flex, where does that leave you? Jonathan Taylor against Tampa Bay. No, thank you. Michael Pittman as a small run back against Tampa Bay. DeAndre Swift, if he is active, going up against Buffalo. Josh Jacobs against Kansas City. Not loving it. Bijan Robinson, Nico Collins, again for Houston in that same game against Jacksonville. Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. Chris Godwin, Isaiah Pacheco, DeAndre Hopkins. There's options. You can all go all the way down to Christian Kirk and pay up for Demario Douglas, or pay down a little bit more from Demario, go after someone like Trent Irwin or Khalil Shakir. And that leaves you even more room to operate like Devontae Adams against Kansas City, who they're going to throw the ball a lot because they're going to be playing from behind. Puka Nacua without a Cooper Kupp against a bad Arizona team. Mike Evans as my favorite Tampa Bay player in that game. Saquon Barkley against New England, the only viable option that they have offensively, and a number of other options, but we're kind of building off of this, and we'll see where it goes, and we'll put it out later up on Patreon. Again, we don't give you the full lineup, but we'll give you an idea of what we want to target. As always, I appreciate you watching. Give it a thumbs up if you've learned anything or you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Make sure you check out Vivid Picks down below in the player props so we can both take advantage of some promotions that they have this week. I appreciate you watching. Take down the big dogs. Go out and beat the guys entering 150 lineups. I enter double ups because I think we're smarter than half of America. I just like to win consistently, but I would love to take down the million. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully the next time that I see you is in the green.